All right, guys, so this is just a review of the first couple of sections. So we're doing split, and remember with structure, we're looking at how many stanzas. If we recall, this one has one stanza, but 8 lines in that stanza. What is the rhyme scheme? Well, we talked about that, right? We know that it's A, B, I'm trying here, guys, C, D, and D. Don't judge me. Is there a shape? We talked about how there's not really a shape for this particular poem. And then how does the structure contribute to the poem's meaning? Well, we kind of need to know what the poem means first. So we're going to keep that in mind, keep our rhyme scheme in mind and our stanza in order to really understand what the meaning is. Okay? So let us move on to trying to figure this out. So then we go on to point of view and perspective, and we've already figured out that our speaker is our speaker. We don't really know who it is. Remember that the speaker and the author could be and you're usually not the same person. So we want to clarify that our speaker and our author are not the same person. It is in first person, and we discovered that when we were going through, right? We found me, we found my, we found I, right? That kind of gives us its first person point of view, right? So we know that it's in first person, first point of view. So I prefer cursive because it's all linked together. And then what is the speaker trying to articulate? So that just basically means what is the speaker trying to say? So we would kind of look at it, and I would recommend rereading it one more time. So, "'Twas mercy brought me from my pagan land, taught my benighted soul to understand that there's a God, that there's a Savior too. Once I redemption neither sought nor knew. Some view our sable race with scornful eye. Their color is a diabolical dye. Remember, Christians, Negroes, black as Cain, may be refined and join the angelic train." So what is the author trying to say? Do we need more information to get there? Maybe, maybe not. It will depend on you and if you're able to just understand what the author is trying to say. So then we go to language. I believe this is where we left off. So is there figurative language in this text? I think we found that there were a couple, right? We had some, we had a simile here with black as Cain. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. So a simile here with black as Cain, right? We also have soul to understand that there's a God, that there's a Savior too. Once I redemption, neither saw nor knew. Maybe alliteration with these S's. So remember, alliteration is using the same sound multiple times in the same line. So this might be alliteration here because we've got some view our sable race with scornful eye. Okay. Diabolical die is definitely alliteration, right? Both of those words start with the letter D. And so we know that that usually means something as well. What sound devices are present? Do we have any repetition? No, we do not. Do we have rhythm and rhyme? Yes. So if you were listening when I was reading this poem, there was a specific rhythm that was happening while I was reading it, right? There's a cadence that happens within the poem, and that is part of rhythm. And then, of course, the rhyme. With our rhyme scheme, we figured out, land and stand under that rhyme. To and new rhyme. I and die, Cain and train. So there is rhyming and there is rhythm in this poem. I would not say there's any repetition. Is there sensory language? So this is definitely where we left off. Is there something that you can see? or smell, touch, taste, right? These are our 5 senses that we use. The color is a diabolic die. I would say this might be, this line here might be potentially sensory language, right? Because it's letting us see the color, like we can see it. View our sable race. Sable is a color. We can see that here in our definitions, dark brown or black. So we've got a lot of the imagery, like just what we're able to see. It's telling us what we're able to see. I don't really see anything that is taste, smell, hear, or touch. But if you see something, by all means, please keep an eye out for it. All right, so next we have eye, which is imagery. So that's that sensory language. And we want to ask ourselves, what pictures do we visualize while reading? And so when we're looking at that and we're trying to figure out the pictures that we visualize, we want to see what it is exactly we see. So we did underline or highlight, view our sable race. The color is a diabolic die. So we know that we're looking at colors, right? That's going to be important, thinking about what those colors are representing within the text, okay? What words bring the poem to life? So which words in this text bring this poem to life? Well, I would definitely say we've got the words that are defined for us, kind of let us know bits and pieces. So when we're looking at words, we're looking at that word choice. What word choices is the author using to get their message across, or that's really helping us stand out with our text, okay? So that's just something to think about. And then we have tone, which we've gone over tone. How does the speaker feel? That is definitely also looking at word choice. So how does the speaker feel? Do we think that this text is given in a positive fashion, or is it more of a negative tone? So you got to think about what is the tone, or how is the speaker feeling? I would say if this was, me thinking about it, the author literally uses the word benighted, meaning ignorant. So taught my benighted soul to understand, taught my ignorant soul to understand that there's a God, that there's a Savior too. So using the word Savior, right, kind of gives us this positive feel, right? Like it's telling us that, my ignorant soul, right? Like I'm not that smart. My ignorant soul to understand that there is a God, that there is a Savior, right? There's somebody out there who's going to give me this hope. Once I redemption neither sought nor knew, right? So once I redemption, that means neither sought. Y'all would need to look up the word sought. I don't know why y'all didn't tell me that y'all didn't know what that word meant. I'm pretty sure you don't. Sought basically means to go out and get something, right? So once I redemption neither sought nor knew. So I didn't go get it. I didn't know it. Some view our sable race with scornful eye, saying that other people see our the dark brown, right, or the black, so the ethnic, right, the people from Africa, saw that dark colored race with scornful eye, meaning people were looking at them poorly, badly, having issues with them. The color is a diabolic die. This is what people are saying. We know this because it's in quotes. Remember, Christians, Negroes, black as Cain, may be refined and join the angelic train. So this right here, these lines here, it's kind of being inclusive, right? Talking about how Christians, Negroes, black as Cain, like it doesn't matter, right? Everyone can be refined. Everyone can join the, quote, angelic train, which is this group of people, the people who think that they are the closest to God, right? And so when we look at that and we think about what is the author trying to say, you have to keep that in mind. Is this a positive, negative, or neutral poem? I think it's positive. If you guys think otherwise, please feel free to let me know. Make sure to write it down on your Split graphic organizer so that I can look at that and we can have a discussion when I get back on Friday. What emotions are evoked because of the language used in the poem? So that goes toward tone, right? I was able to come up with this positive feeling that there is a God, that there is a Savior, but I can also see where someone might come up with a negative feeling, kind of thinking that it is, how dare you assume that I don't know that there is a God, that I don't know that there is a Savior, or how dare you assume that I need a God or need a Savior. That is just depends on how the speaker is coming across. So really look at these words to figure out what the tone is for the text, and then think about also what might actually, what words, and emotions are being evoked in the poem, okay? Our last piece is theme. So theme is the message, right? So what is the subject of this text? I'm going to give you, I would say pause the video actually, give yourself about 30 seconds to think about what is the subject of this text. For me, thank you for pausing. For me, I think the subject of this text is dealing with religion, potentially coming from some non-religious state to a religious state. What is the author saying about the subject? I feel like, and I discussed this earlier when we were talking about tone, because the author is using the word benighted soul, right? Ignorant soul, and saying there is a God or there is a Savior, then I think that the author is trying to say that there is hope for the people from Africa coming to America are going to be able to find the God, quote unquote, and the quote unquote Savior that exists in America that is presented by the white people, the people who are in this angelic train. That's my opinion. If you see something different, by all means, please put that on your paper. There is usually more than one theme within a text. You just have to be able to justify that theme. So why is the title important? So remember, the title is On Being Brought from Africa to America. So we look at this text and we think about it's people are coming from Africa to America, and on being brought, on being kind of gives us the idea that this is the opinion about the situation, right? This is the speaker's opinion on being brought from Africa to America, okay? So when we're thinking about these questions, especially when we think about theme, you have to take into consideration all aspects, including the title, which is why I always ask you guys to look at the title first and make a prediction as to what you think the text is going to be about. Because the title will 9 times out of 10 be a big clue or red flag as to what the poem actually is about or the text is about, and will help you understand what is happening within the text, poem, etc. And then last but not least, what is the central message of the poem? So this is, again, going into theme. So what is the author saying about the subject? What is the central message? I think in this case, this is talking about religious, what would be the word I'm looking for? Religious identification might not be accurate. Redemption, I don't think is right. Like maybe enlightenment or something along those lines. You got to think about what the author is trying to say and what is the message or what is the overall message of the poem. All right, so some questions to consider when you're reading your poem. In lines 7 and 8, highlight the end rhymes and the phrases in which they appear. So make sure to do that first. Then evaluate what contrast does the rhyme help emphasize? Why is the contrast significant? And you're looking specifically at these 2 lines. So don't go thinking past this, just look at these 2 lines and think about what is the contrast, what does it emphasize, why is it significant? Then you want to annotate by highlighting the words or phrases in the poem that help develop the theme. So remember, I talked about what I thought the theme was. Make sure you have an idea of what you think the theme is. If it's the same as mine, great. If it is not, great. Just make sure that you can support it, and this is part of why you would support it. highlighting words or phrases in the poem that help develop the theme. And then interpret. What do these words and phrases suggest about the speaker's view of life